Alright, I'm going to show you guys how to crochet. I'm making this video for anybody who wants to learn how to crochet, but I'm specifically making it for my niece Evie, who I recently sent a hat and an infinity scarf as kind of some examples of fun things that she could do on her own when she learns how to crochet. So I'm making this video for her to be able to learn, but I think anybody could watch it and learn. That's how I learned how to crochet. I watched YouTube videos. I had to watch a lot of them because some of the videos were really advanced and some of them were almost too slow, like they were explaining the history of crochet, which I just didn't really care that much about. I just kind of wanted to learn how to do it. Basically what you need here is a crochet needle. Doesn't really matter the size. The bigger the needle, the bigger the loop is going to be. The smaller the needle, the smaller the loop is going to be. Usually for a hat, you can do a smaller needle. For something chunky like this kind of yarn, you're going to do a thicker needle. Thicker yarn, thicker needle, smaller yarn, smaller needle. Easy enough. Okay. I'm just going to use this yarn right here. I've already used some of it for making some hats. One thing I learned just by watching some people is that instead of grabbing the side of the yarn, the beginning of the yarn that's on the outside of a ball of yarn, go for the one that's on the inside. See how this one's kind of coming out of the middle? You kind of have to dig in there and pull it out, and it may come out in a whole chunk. So beginning of all crocheting projects are going to basically start with a slip knot. So you take your yarn and you're going to make a little X, a little loop. Make an X that's facing you. Take the long part of your yarn and you're going to feed it through this loop like so, and then pull both pieces down to make a slip knot. Okay, one more time. You should be able to pull it and come right off. If it's a true slip knot, it'll come right out. If it turns into a knot, then you did it wrong. Okay, two hands here, make a loop. Fun little loop, little bunny ear loop. Make sure that it's crossed right here, if you can see that. Hold it with these two fingers, take the long part of your string, feed it through the loop, and pull it tight. Okay? Doesn't really matter how big it is because you can adjust it. Alright, now I am going to do that one more time because my tail was a little long. Alright, I'm going to make an X, take the long part, feed it through, and there is my loop. Okay? Take your crochet needle. I am using H8 5mm. Okay? I'm going to put it through my loop. Crochet needle right through the loop. Hold on to your long tail and pull so that the loop tightens around your needle like so. Okay? Everybody there? Trying to go not too slow but not too fast because I had to rewind a lot and I know that's annoying. Alright, now second part that's very important is your feeder hand. Basically one hand is going to hold the needle and this yarn while your other hand is going to feed the yarn through, and there's a certain way of doing it that makes it easy. Okay, I use my pinky. I wrap my pinky like this on the inside, and with my palm facing towards me I go across those four fingers from the outside to the inside and I loop the index finger. Okay, try again. Have your palm face you, wrap your pinky from the inside to the outside, drag it across all four fingers to the outside of your index finger and wrap. Then drop these two fingers down and hold this part in place because this is your feeder that's coming from your ball of yarn. Okay, so hold those in place, and this little part right here is where all the magic happens. This is where you're going to be pulling your yarn through your loops. This is how we crochet. It's basically just a ton of loops and swoops. Okay, one more time. You can always readjust your hand. You'll get it as you go. You kind of just, it's just like riding a bike. You just kind of have to get the feel for it. Okay, hand, pinky, flip around outside to the inside, pull across, drop your index finger down and wrap. Okay, drop these two fingers. Now with your middle finger and your thumb, which are not currently attached to any string, you're going to hold your knot. This is really important for, these two fingers help a lot with tension and just kind of moving along as you crochet. What we're going to start out doing, just because I don't like mindlessly crocheting, I like working on something, so we're just going to try to make a straight scarf, which I felt like was the best tool for practice because it's easy. You're just basically doing rows, one on top of another, one on top of another, just to get the feel for it, the feel of holding your feeder hand, holding this needle, and looping around. Another thing you want to know is you want to try to do the least amount of wrist motion as possible. More arm, less wrist. I almost got carpal tunnel doing this because I was going like this. This, for a long period of time, is going to wear out your wrist. So use your whole arm and try to keep your wrist as straight as possible. Okay, so if you want to start over, if you're still in this position, great. If not, let's do it again. Wrap the pinky across the front of your hand, drop the index finger, hold these two, ring finger and thumb, hold the knot. Okay, you're ready. This is where all the action happens. The needle comes in towards you, it loops around, and it goes through the whole, the first slip knot that you created, okay? Let's do it again, okay? You've got your needle in the hole, wraps around the yarn, and you pull it through the hole, okay? That's called a chain. You've chained one, okay? When you are starting any project, you basically are going to create a base chain. And what I do with my thumb and my index finger is I move up. I always want them close to the needle, if you can see that. So roll over, pull through. And I move my index finger and thumb up to hold it. So it's in place and I'm not creating too much tension here. If you can't get your needle through the hole, you're holding it too tight. If it's flying through the hole, and then it's too loose. So you just kind of learn that it should slide through the hole easily. Okay? So just keep doing that. Pull it over from the inside. This is called a yarn over. Pull in and under and through. Pull it in, under, and through. You're creating a base chain. In, under, and through. I'm not going to do an incredibly long base chain because I want to show you the next part, which is kind of tricky, but it's basically how you start going up on your scarf. Okay, so I'm going to start going back the other way. I'm going to chain another row that's going to attach to my base row. Alright, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the second hole. I've got my yarn going through this hole right here, and then I have a second hole right here, if you can see that. Little hole right there. I'm going to take this from inside towards me, pushing it outside away from me, and I'm going to pull the yarn through that hole, and now I've got the yarn that I just pulled through plus my original loop, and then I'm going to pull through that hole. Okay, so here we go. See this little hole right here? I'm going to go through the second hole. I'm going to grab this yarn and come through it. So I have two on. Now I'm going to go through again like that. Okay? And then you go to the second hole. Here it is. One hole here, grab through, and then pull through two. So you push your needle through the next hole first, push it through, grab the yarn, pull it through that hole you just made. Use your index and pinky. I kind of pull it away from me, pull it down, pull the chunk that you're working on, and you kind of hold this to create tension. Then you pull through those two. Okay, through the base, through one, through two. Okay? Next hole through one, through two. I'm just going to kind of get to the end here. You have to go through the very last hole, and it may be kind of tight, but you got to get through that one, otherwise your scarf is going to start to look kind of tapered. If your scarf starts to look tapered, you know that you didn't go through your last hole here. Okay, now you've come to the end, so you're even. You've got one row on top of the other. Now you have to chain up one. This is crucial, otherwise you will also get a tapered scarf, which I did for a while and I couldn't figure out what was going on. You have to chain up one at the end of every row to start a new row, otherwise it's going to start doing like a pyramid. Alright, then you flip it around and you're going to go back the other way, and this is basically what you're going to do the whole way until you decide your scarf is long enough. Okay, you see on top here how it's kind of a braided look? For the third row, you're going to take your needle and you're going to go through the top. You're going to go through that braid. There's little holes in the braid, and I don't know if you can see them, but if you look at it, you've got a hole here. Here, I'm going to use my needle. You've got a hole here that you can go through, and then the next one is right here. Mine's kind of tight. Okay? basically you're going to be crocheting through these holes, through the top of this braid, but through both of them. Okay, so you're going to push it through this hole. You see that? Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to pull your yarn through that hole and then pull it through too. Okay, you're going to do that the whole way through. Push it through the top part of the braid. It's a really big, easy hole. It's hard to miss. If it's hard to push your needle through, you're probably not pushing it through the right part of your chain. So it should be a really big gaping hole, and that means it should be easy to go through it and then pull through. It could be that maybe you chained it too tight. That's possible, but you can just pull it out and start over. Okay, push through here, pull through, and then chain through the 2 loops. You should always end your chain with just 1, it's always 1 at the end. So if you have 2 and you're going on to the next one, you probably need to pull it out and start over, and it's really easy. Just pull your needle out and pull it out till you're back to 1. Okay, and then you can start it over. And a lot of times I readjust my hands just because I don't like too much slack. Okay, and you basically are going to go through like that. Push through, yarn over, pull, and around.